Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to my Real Tech series. Today we are going to be setting up an array of garden cloches in this factory behind me. So let's get started. Garden Cloche is a small but very powerful farm from Immersive Engineering. It's fast, it's easy to set up, it takes up very little space, and is completely hands-off once you set it up. Now, in order to make the garden cloche, we will have to make these vacuum tubes in the engineer's workbench using the engineer's blueprint for crafting components. So you put the blueprint over here in the workbench, and it's basically made like so it's not too terribly expensive. And then we make it with these 4 ingredients. So a piece of glass, a nickel plate, a copper wire, and redstone. And then you can see we get 3 vacuum tubes out of that. And then from that, we just make it with these parts, including this iron mechanical component. So you will need to have treated wood by the time you make this, and a little bit of copper and some other things. So we're going to be setting up these cloches to grow the raw ingredients that are required for the deluxe nacho recipe. So this is actually part of a multi-part process of us automating deluxe nachos. The cloches themselves do require water and power, and of course a seed of whatever we're going to be growing, and some dirt. Although it doesn't consume the dirt, I'm actually going to put an infinite water supply over here. That is from Magneticraft. It's a water generator, and that's going to fill this thing up with water, and then we can just use Immersive Engineering pipes to connect that to all the other cloches, so they're all going to fill up with water. You can power these things from the top. You can also power them from the sides. The water does have to go in the back. The items will automatically be outputted here. So on the second block on the front, you can actually just put a chest there and it'll auto output to it, or we could run conveyor belts across here. What we're actually going to do for this particular setup is use Magneticraft's logistics system. So I'm going to put these logistics frames here, which are basically going to be provider frames that are going to pull out the inventory from here whenever it's or whenever there's a place to put it. I'm actually going to make them invisible though. I did extensively talk about the Magneticraft logistics system in a different video, so you can check that out if you want to learn more about that. But you should be able to get the gist of how those work here. But in this video, we're going to focus on the cloche. All right, I've got them all powered up and watered and ready to go. We can also put fertilizer in here, and basically what it'll do is it mixes the fertilizer with water, and it increases the growth. We can use forestry fertilizer, we can use bone meal. It supports fertilizers from a lot of different mods. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw dirt in this slot. We can just shift click that in there. And it depends what you're growing on what it's going to require, but dirt is basically going to be used as like hoed dirt. So pretty much most crops use dirt. If you want to do like nether wart or something like that, obviously you have to put soul sand in there. And then we throw the seeds in. Now, these things support almost all mod crops that I've ever tried using, but they do require seeds. So like for instance, with Pam's Harvestcraft stuff, you can just plant the onions in soil normally, but in the cloche, you do need an onion seed, which of course with Pam's Harvestcraft, you can get those just by crafting the onion or whatever. You can get seeds from every Pam's Harvestcraft crop that way. And it'll only take 1 seed. It will get seeds from its output, so that's all you need. And it even supports rustic crops in this pack because of Cloche Call. We have an add-on called Cloche Call. So, but as you can see, it does put the stake in the middle. And you can see how fast these things are growing, even without any fertilizer. And like this first one we did, of course, this one did have fertilizer, and you can see that the forestry fertilizer gives us a 1.5 growth modifier. We already have 9 corn and 3 corn seeds. And here we have 1 tomato already. Like, and I just did these things. So this thing is fast. It's easy to set up. Probably the most powerful farming block in Minecraft. I've got all my storage drawers locked to store the things. I also have 4 different seeds. The rustic ones don't output seeds, but everything else does. All the Pam's Harvestcraft ones do. So I've got a drawer for those. I'm just going to put a void upgrade in there because we don't really need a lot of seeds. In fact, we don't really need any other than the one that's in here. And now all I have to do to get this thing to be fully automated is to put a storage frame on the drawer controller. You can see how much stuff we have in there already. That was just how much stuff I grabbed out of these, and they're already, yeah, there's a lot. And then we just need to place a logistics drone on the ground, somewhere probably kind of in the middle of this room, because where we place it is going to determine its range. And it should start going and grabbing that stuff and putting it over here. Nice. Now it's faster to use the pressure pipes or the pressure tubes from Pneumaticraft rather than using a drone, but the drone is a lot more flexible and also fun to watch. It's completely hands-off. I will never have to touch it again. When these drawers fill up, which they will eventually, this inventory is going to start to back up. Once this inventory backs up, it's going to just stop running. Now, you can also give these guys a redstone signal to turn them off, which can be useful if we were, say, using conveyor belts. Like, we could set it up so that we have conveyor belts coming across here and going into the drawer controller or whatever other inventory, and then have some kind of a sensor that's telling us that this drawer has X amount of stuff, and then have it send a redstone signal to the cloche to turn it off when we have enough stuff over there. One thing to note is that conveyor belts, if you turn the conveyor belt off by giving the conveyor belt a redstone, this still will output to the conveyor belt, so then your items will just sit on the conveyor belt. So you do want to give the cloche itself a redstone signal if you want it to stop outputting. Just a quick note on how the fertilizer works. It grabs the water out of here 1 bucket at a time, and it puts it in this slot and mixes it with fertilizer, and then it uses that before it grabs more. So if I put fertilizer in this thing right now, it's not going to be using fertilized water until this runs out. So once this runs out, it's going to fill up again. We're going to see that in a second here. And now it fills it up again, and now we're at 1.5. So it's going to consume all this, and that was basically 1 item of fertilizer. All our food production is now fully automated and ready to go into our next step, which is going to be auto-crafting everything with immersive engineering assemblers and with that little drone that's flying around behind us. So in the next episode, we're going to be playing with the assemblers, and we're going to be doing a kind of an auto-crafting setup that is going to get us the final result of deluxe nachos, which are basically an OP food that's going to give us all of our nutrients in a single food. So I hope you join me for that. If you do have any questions or comments or ideas or anything else, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.